Good evening, good afternoon, beautiful people. How is everybody day going today? Welcome to Stu Queen B's Thoughts. I'm a Stu Queen B. We are the Royal Gladiators over here. So if you are a subscriber and you are a Royal Gladiator, I ask that you drop some crowns in the chat for yourself. Also, this is a pre-recorded video. I'm going to state it every time I do one. The grace for today will always be pre-recorded so you can watch them whenever you want. I add a couple more, I will make it into a playlist so you can go to any one or you can sit and listen to all of them back to back if you choose to. I'd appreciate it when you come in my queendom. Just show a little bit of love and a little bit of respect. Either hit the thumbs up on your way in or at least hit the thumbs up on your way out. I would appreciate it. My new subscribers, thank you for trusting me with your time and your ear. To my old subscribers, thank you for continuing to rock with us, sister. And I hope a couple more of y'all will come from out of the woodwork because I haven't ran across a lot of y'all in a while. And I think it's that time. What I'm going over today is grace for today. It's God's grace is significant. So, it says God's grace is significant. The day of the blameless are known to the Lord, and their inherence will endure forever. Psalms 37 and 18. We often hear of people who apparently live virtuous lives and yet are plagued by disaster. Sometimes we want to question God's actions, and it is difficult to difficult to agree with Paul when he says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. However, it is important to remember that God's perspective on life is eternal, and he truly desires all things to work for your own good. Paul also says that our present suffering does not outweigh the glory that will be revealed in us. We see Romans 8:18. Take courage and let your heart be peaceful. God's grace is insufficient. I thank you all, knowing God, that your grace is always sufficient for me. Despite my problems, amen. Like I tell y'all all the time, I always have to add to those because they are very short. But they are powerful words in the same. So I go through my other book, which I said I'm not going to just sit and do nothing on that unless I am finished with the grace book. But other than that, I'm not going to do that. Like I say all the time, I hope everyone is blessed. I hope that everyone is getting along and everybody is pushing through with the strength that God has given you. So what I'm going to go over today, the covenant blessings of God's promise, I'm going to speak about deliverance. Let's see. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Psalms 32:7. Many are the affliction of the righteousness, but the Lord delivered him out of them all. Psalms 34:19. It says, but we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God, which raises the dead, who delivers us from so great of death, and deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Corinthians chapter 1, verses 9 through 10. When God delivers you from something, he always delivers you to something else, and it is not always something better. The first step to freedom is confession. In order to stay free, fill your spirit with the word. Freedom is never granted voluntarily by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. When the enemy tries to invade your life, like the flood, Jesus will rise up a standard against him. Isaiah 59 and 19. The Lord wants you to demand your independence of Satan's occupation. A breakthrough is a sudden burst of the advanced knowledge of God, which will propel us through every line of Satan's defenses. Men who know they have been delivered are men who can never be bound again. Haven't you come to the end of Loneliness Boulevard and Wits and Corners? It's not your effort that is going to produce your freedom. It is God's effort on your behalf. So, like I always say, no matter what religion, race, creed, color, whoever you worship, I always say God is the same entity, and no matter what you call him, Allah, Jehovah, whichever you choose to call him in your religion, because loving God has nothing to do with religion. Knowing that God is the maker of all is people that know that they are children of God as well. Some people may not believe it, but you should know it, because without God doing the work, trust and believe, a lot of us would not be here today. See, people ask for grace when they've done something wrong. And some people don't even have the respect or the love for themselves to ask for grace when they've done something wrong. So I tell y'all, be mindful. If you do something wrong, ask for forgiveness and allow people their space and time for them to give you grace. Because everybody doesn't move on the same clock. Nobody does. Everybody does not move on the same clock. So you take the time and be mindful. As you're asking for grace, make sure you are also giving grace to someone else. Because you are never too big or too small to ask for grace and to give grace to someone else that needs it and deserves it. Because sometimes we run into people in our lives and we misunderstand them because we only see what they show us. But there's always some underlying issue probably somewhere floating around. So take the time to give that person grace and let them explain to you who they are and what they stand for. And if they have issues in their lives or if they don't. If God can give all of his children grace, and some people do way worse than we do. But if God can forgive and give people grace, who are we as humans to not do the same thing? I'm just saying. So, with that being said, let me give y'all a little evening affirmation. Or excuse me, a morning and an evening affirmation that I think you might enjoy. Let's see. and then I will end this live. Morning affirmation. I am worthy of love. I deserve the best things that the world have to offer. If you're watching this in the evening, your evening affirmation is I know how to get the best out of any situation. I am widely and massively successful at everything I do. If that fits you, carry that with you. If it doesn't fit you and you're trying to move through life in a different way, hold on to that affirmation and hold it tight while you are making your next steps into your new journey of life. I send prayers to each and every one of y'all. I pray that God continues to bless you all and make sure that He allows you to wake up tomorrow morning. And like I say all the time, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, please make sure you thank God for waking you up every single morning, because He did it and He didn't have to. Life is precious. So be thankful for it. Don't use the gifts that God gave you to destroy others. Use it to lift and uplift others. That's what I try to do. So, with that being said, my beautiful gladiators, I thank you all for coming through, and I hope you enjoyed. God's grace is sufficient. That is for grace for today. Make sure you love upon your family. Make sure you talk to your children. And definitely make sure you love upon yourself, because if you don't take care of you first, you can't take care of nobody else. I mean that from my heart to yours. I send prayers out to each and every one of you and your family. For anybody that's going through anything hard in their lives, may God continue to give you the strength to carry on. As long as you believe in God, you know God got your back, and He is going to help carry you through that madness and that stress and that anxiety and whatever else is going on in your life. I'd say those words to you as I take them in myself. Because the queen is doing a little bit better in her feelings right now. But I have to continue to push myself to not allow the devil to win. So y'all, don't let the devil win. Don't let the devil win. Like we always say, the devil was one of the most beautiful angels God ever had. And one of the most smartest. But he couldn't follow rules. And he'd rather do bad than do good. So be mindful who you cherish, who you befriend, who you hang with, who you talk to, who you share your personal business with. Be mindful of that, because the devil is busy. So I thank y'all for coming through. Drive safe if you're on your way to work or from work. Please be safe and careful. Cousin 19 and his relatives are making their rounds, so please make sure you have masks in your cars, hand sanitizers in your car, and maybe even some gloves. And make sure you clean your door handles off and all that stuff before you get in your car, your steering wheel, all that. Even your door handles at home, because some people don't wash their hands. You know what I mean? But anyway, I love y'all. I thank y'all. And y'all have a blessed one. It's the Stu Queen. Be out.